What the is this? This was my reaction 7 months ago when we first got the trailer for a Minecraft movie. And let me just say, boy, was I so wrong. Welcome to Easily Entertained. My name is Bryson Olson, and here we talk about all things entertainment. It's awesome. And recently, I saw the Minecraft movie. And wow, I am eating my words. Whew, so good. That might be the biggest movie of all time. Okay. Truly amazing. Citizen Kane, nothing. Biggest cinematic event of all time. Infinity War Endgame, nothing. Has literally everything. So let's dive right in and talk about it.
Who are you?
I am Steve.
So it's about what you would expect. Amazing. Okay. Absolutely tremendous. Apologies for my dog barking in the background. She is a menace. But the Minecraft movie, it was pretty good, okay? It was better than what I was expecting, to be quite honest. So I say, like, what you would expect, but more based off the hype that has come from social media and not from the actual trailers. It very much is kind of, like, catering to the memes and, like, all of those kind of points where they're, like, chicken jockey, the lava chicken song, like, it all kind of comes out of nowhere, but it's meant to be for the meme, which is totally understandable. And I think that's totally fine. Sometimes you can have a movie like that where you can kind of just put in a bunch of points that you're like, oh, this is going to become a meme. And I think it's hilarious. And watching it in the theater, even like almost 2 weeks afterwards, still funny because it's still a pretty packed theater and everyone knows when the quotes are coming and all says them together. That is a hilarious theater experience. I don't always advocate for people to be talking in a theater, but I do find it hilarious for this specific movie. You know, like in some movies like Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, when people kind of erupt and like are super excited, it's totally understandable. This movie, it is hilarious because the movie is not necessarily a franchise yet. It's the first movie that is like about Minecraft, but the Minecraft property is huge, so it makes sense. And they did a very unique thing when adapting a video game like this, because not all video game adaptations are really the same. You know, some try to make it like, oh, it is a video game. Some try to not. This one was the latter. And I kind of liked it. And then, of course, they have plenty of references for all the characters. For all the players, like, who have played Minecraft before. So you're like, oh, I totally get that. I have had an experience like that before. And that is something that, while this movie isn't what everyone was initially hoping for in a Minecraft movie, that kind of feeling is something you really want in a video game adaptation, where something comes on screen or they say something or reference something that is just phenomenal. And it catches your brain. It's a nostalgic kind of thing where you really are like, oh, I feel that. It's like almost nostalgic in a way where it makes you think back to your times playing Minecraft and just having those moments of when you first played it or when new updates came out and you wanted to play all the new stuff, the first builds you ever had, or the first time you were able to play with friends, that kind of stuff. That is what this movie provides. That's the kind of greatness that I think the Minecraft movie is giving to people. I think that is what is making it a global phenomenon. Like, it is kind of a meme, but so was a lot of stuff with Minecraft. Okay, Minecraft was kind of the lead for a lot of internet. Like, just the entire internet culture has kind of derived from Minecraft in a lot of ways. If you think about gaming on YouTube, Minecraft set the stage. Like, people were kind of doing other things than Minecraft, but Minecraft became huge. Obviously, some Minecraft YouTubers got a little crazy, but not all of them did, thank goodness. And, you know, we even kind of get some hints at that in this movie. Like, Dan TDM makes an appearance at like a storage auction. And when I was watching, I was like, I know who that is. I used to watch that guy. And that was awesome. I love being able to do that and kind of connect with a phenomenon like this. So the trailers, I feel like, kind of make it worse. The CGI, still kind of weird. It is still a little bit weird. It looks a little odd that they're in live action. I will forever die on that hill where I'm like, oh, that looks so weird. However, when you're watching the movie, you kind of get over it. Because it's not like Uncanny Valley where like they look too much like real people because of the blocky shapes and stuff. It's more kind of like Avatar, where because they're not entirely human, you get over it and your brain can kind of just tune it out as normal. And then it looks totally fine. But then it gives like that feeling of like when you're playing Minecraft, like, oh, I actually kind of would want to be in this world. I think this would be really fun. It makes you like really enjoy it more, which I think is great. Because when it was first released, you know, if you saw that video of mine, I thought it looked freaking weird. And I don't know why they would do a live action. I still think it would have done better animated. I don't know if this specific story would do better animated, but I do think an animated Minecraft movie would go so hard. There's so many YouTubers that do Minecraft animations. Someone do it. Someone do it. I think it would be so cool. I think there are basically Minecraft movies already out there, especially because of the nature of Minecraft. You can kind of just do anything. But I just think it's fantastic just how they are able to hit all of those aspects in a Minecraft movie. I think it's just great. And like, I was kind of not expecting it. Like, the memes made me want to watch it more and everyone talking about it, but I did not think it was going to be that good. And so coming out of it, it's fantastic. Okay, it's actually pretty fun. It's a fun watch. Worth it. So let's get into the next bit.
As a child, I yearned for the mines, but something always got in the way.
So let's talk about the story and dialogue, which I think this movie struggles on a lot. One, the story. Pretty basic, which is not super surprising considering the trailers, but it is very basic, which does kind of suck. Making a very interesting story set within the world of Minecraft should be fairly easy. And I don't know, maybe someone really liked the story of Minecraft. Remember, these are all just my opinions, but me personally, I feel like the story is very basic. You start off with a guy who eventually ventures out into this unknown world, and he stays there, and he eventually kind of gets trapped there. And then you cut to modern times where there's a misunderstood kid who's being made fun of for being creative. Weirdest thing to be being made fun of, I think of. But he finds this little device when he meets this strange has-been. And then they go to this world and they get trapped, and then they have to go on a journey to get the key to return. And the man who is trapped there helps them and eventually decides to return home and kind of combine the world. Like, it is a story that kind of feels like it's been told already, which I'm not saying is necessarily a bad thing. However, given the nature of Minecraft, being able to do anything, I wish they leaned into that a little bit more. Like, this movie seems more like, what is a first player, like a first time player of Minecraft? What is their experience like? That's what kind of the story seems to be doing, where like all the Minecraft stuff is very much like, oh, you would build a castle and you would just collect all the basic armor and stuff. Not basic armor, but, you know, full diamond armor, or you would venture out into the nether. Like, the fairly normal things that people can do in Minecraft, but I wish they expanded on it more. And I do wish that it was more, we got to see like a journey in Minecraft. Like, if that was the story of like a first time person in Minecraft, I wish it was like, oh, they go to the nether and then they get a bunch of stuff, and then they go to the end and they find out there's a dragon there, and that's the point of the story, is to beat that. Because that is sort of the story of Minecraft. Like, that's what gets you to roll the credits. And I think in a movie standpoint, I think that would work really well. But otherwise, I do think the rest of the story is kind of basic. It feels like only part of a story. I wish they were to dive in further, especially because you can do anything in Minecraft. You can make up whatever story you want, okay? Add things that aren't in Minecraft right now, and you can pass it off as a filmmaker being like, well, there are mods of this, so they could exist in Minecraft. There you go. And then you can really do whatever you want. And I think that's great. I do think for this first movie, like relating to Minecraft, I don't know if they're going to do another one in this universe, but this movie, I do understand not doing like what I just said, like the modding stuff, because not everyone who plays Minecraft does that. Like, especially for those who play like console, that's not really a thing. Like, sort of, but not really. So I get that on the story. But then the dialogue. The dialogue also can be really cringe at times. And it's not like, oh, it's so funny because like it's really stupid, but like super uncomfortable cringe where you're like, what the freaking crap did these guys just say? Like, it's almost NPC dialogue where it's a little rough. The guy who directed a Minecraft movie is the same guy who directed Napoleon Dynamite. Jared Hess, I believe is his name. Which, hey, I think there are some things from both movies that I do think kind of tie into each other. There were certain times where I'm like, oh, this is very Napoleon Dynamite-esque, especially when they use like crash zooms occasionally. I just think it was really fun. Those parts, not as bad. There were some moments that were like funny cringe, like Napoleon Dynamite, where you're like, ooh, but that is hilarious. But there were certain points in this where you're like, oh, I hate listening to that. That is what I mean. Like, not so bad it's funny, but so bad that it's bad. And I think a lot of that does come from it being more modern. So you have younger, like closer to Gen Z dialogue that was very clearly written by someone who is not a member of Gen Z and therefore doesn't know exactly how to use their, like, how to use the way they speak. Like, it just does not fit the same. It's not all bad, but a lot of it you're like, ooh, I don't think they really understand this. Like, they talk about like social media at the very beginning, like someone's gonna be like, the girl is gonna be a social media manager or whatever, and it's just kind of odd. However, sometimes it is kind of humorous how bad it is, but there are other times where it is not as humorous. I think it's just going to kind of make the movie age a little poorer. Like, in 5-10 years, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that was a product of 2025, the 2020s, 100%. Which is, like, sometimes that's fine. Like, if you watch Back to the Future, you're like, oh, this is a product of the 80s. But in a way, it's timeless. I do not think a Minecraft movie is going to hold up to that same level. Which, that's kind of fine. But at the same time, I do kind of wish it was not that way, because that would just kind of make it hold up better. Like, can become more of a cult classic. However, I don't think a Minecraft movie is going to be one. At least in my personal opinion, just based on how the movie sits in its current standing.
A wonderland where anything you can imagine is possible. As long as what you imagine can be built out of blocks.
Okay, so now I earlier talked about it being a video game adaptation. And as far as video game adaptations go, it is fairly decent, even if it looks super odd. It does look like the game, just very hyper realistic. And I do think Minecraft was probably the perfect game to make an adaptation of, because there is no set story. You can make up whatever you want, which, they did. They made kind of a simple story, but they did make it up. And so that kind of led to them being able to make a better video game adaptation than what we've always seen in the past. You can't do that with every game. The Last of Us, Mario, Sonic. You cannot change a lot of their story. Sonic, also kind of in a unique situation. However, the main point of Sonic is Sonic versus Eggman or Dr. Robotnik or whoever you want to call him. Like, that is like always the same, so it just kind of changes settings, which like the games do. Totally fine. The Last of Us, if you drastically changed the story, I think people would riot. I haven't played the game, so I don't know all of the story, which I think makes the show better for me because I don't have a previous bias, which I can't wait to talk about season 2 for that. It's going great so far. But you also have things like Uncharted or Mario. They have pretty set storylines in them, or it's pretty set aspects. So maybe that's not what I'm meaning to say, because those ones, like, I feel like they kind of made some unique stories with those. I'm trying to think more of like a bad video game adaptation. But yeah, I do feel like are lately getting better at adapting video games, especially when it comes to story, because that's the hard part, is how much can you differ the story from the original source material? Because books, completely different situation. You know, it's like they have the story all laid out, so you can kind of just follow that pretty much. But you can't really do that with a video game, because while a lot of video games have really good story, it's awesome. However, there are other aspects of a video game that you have to figure out how to adapt to the movie screen, and that is what's really hard. Gameplay, interactions, and visuals. Okay, gameplay, huge. That is like 90% of every video game there. How do you incorporate that into a movie? That is a pain in the freaking butt, let me tell you. Minecraft, I think, does a pretty good job. They're like, how do you interact with villages or the mobs? Like, it kind of freaks you out when you first punch a tree and get a block. It kind of shows that. Discovering new items or facing new enemies. I feel like they do a really good job in that. They don't always do that in every video game adaptation. That is one thing that I think, like, the Mario movie does not have the same. They have some of it, but I think just the nature of the movie and the nature of the game, it is a hard one to transfer mediums with. The Last of Us, I feel like, is a good example of a good way to do it. Like, they really encapsulate what it feels like to be running from the zombies, to be running from a clicker, like hiding from them, being quiet, or the different storylines going on, having to face off bad humans, that kind of stuff. And it kind of carries over into interactions as well. Like, how are these characters developing their relationships with each other? You would play as one of the main characters. How are they developing their relationships? You don't really see that in every movie. Minecraft, like, Steve is technically a main character, but there is no real lore to Steve. So you can kind of do whatever you want there. And I think in the way the Minecraft movie does it is more, how do you interact with other people on a server? And that's kind of what they are portraying in that situation. But then you also have visuals. How do you maintain faithful visuals in an adaptation while also changing it a little bit? Like, the Mario movie did a fantastic job. Like, they kind of just made it almost like what all the 3D Mario games look like. Minecraft movie, they made everything hyper realistic. Sonic, you also kind of make it hyper realistic, but they change it just enough. And I do like that they've been able to do that more lately. I think that is great. Because you can't always do that. I feel like the biggest example what people think of is like the old Super Mario movie wherever, like from the 90s. That movie looks really bad. I feel like they're just getting better at adapting video games to the screen, which I think is great because I love playing video games. I love seeing them adapt them to the screen. I want to see more. Okay. I'm excited to see what other kind of stuff we can get as we go forth. Like I've talked about this before, I think Metroid would do awesome as a movie series because that one has like a lot of story and lore in them. There's that, I think. Some of them, it's like the games are already too movie-esque almost. Like a good example, I really love Detroit Become Human. I think that is a great one. Or you have God of War. That's also a good one. The games themselves are almost movies basically because of the story within them, and you're just kind of interacting and playing along as the story progresses. I think those could do good as movies, but the hard thing is they have such in-depth stories. It's like, how can you change anything while also remaining faithful? Like that part is really hard, but I'm excited to see what other kind of stuff we get. You know, Minecraft, I think they did it pretty well. You know, not everything about Minecraft is fantastic, but I do think as far as an adaptation goes, I think they did a pretty good job. So now let's get into our rating of a Minecraft movie. And if you don't know our easily entertained rating scale from least to best, it is garbage, once is fine, right mood, quotable, go to, and all day, every day. And you know, some people might hate me for this, but I'm gonna say Minecraft movie is right mood for me. Okay, it's not just once is fine. I do think I will see it again. And I don't think it's that quotable. Like, it's quotable right now because it's kind of funny because of the memes. However, I don't think it will remain that way. And I will see it again most likely when I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this in forever. I want to remember this movie. So that's more of a right mood for me. If you have a different rating, that's fine. Go ahead and comment down below and get mad at me. That's totally fine. You're gonna boost my engagement. That would be great. But you know, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and if you haven't seen the Minecraft movie yet, I don't know how you're at this point, go watch it. Okay, it was great. But that is it for this episode of Easily Entertained. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe so you can be notified of all new episodes when they come out every Tuesday. It's always a great time. And if you have any suggestions for future entertainment topics that you'd like me to talk about, comment them down below and maybe I'll reach them in the future. It could be a great time. But until next time, bye.